So we will learn about more in next slides about interrogative sentences. Now, imperative sentences. So what are imperative sentences are? Imperative sentences are a type of sentence that give a command, make a request, or provides instructions or advice. They are used to tell someone to do something and are often used to give directions, instructions, and guidance. Imperative sentences typically begin with a verb and the subject. The person or people being addressed is often implied rather than explicitly stated. The tone of the imperative sentences can vary, ranging from polite request to direct orders. Have some examples of imperative sentences like go to your room. This is command. Please pass the salt. This is polite request. Close the door. This is instruction you are giving. Don't forget to call me. You're giving him yeah, her advice. Then stay calm and carry on. You just give them a encouragement. So these are the imperative sentences can be different from and having the classified into different types of includings. So command, it is a give a direct order or instructions. Request, ask politely for something. Instructions, which provide guidance or directions. Advice, offer guidance or recommendations. Encouragement means urge or motivate someone to do something. So imperative statements are used in a variety of contexts, including giving direction or instructions, providing guidance, advices, making requests, asking for favors, issues, commands for or orders, offering encouragement or motivation. So I have some more example of command, request, and other else. So the example of commands are, for example, go to your room. Stop talking. Close the door. Get out of here. Don't move. So these all comes into the command. When I'm just talking about request, so request examples are please pass the salt. Can you help me? Please, will you please shut the door? Could you lend a book? Would you mind closing the window? So these are all the requests you are doing. Instructions, for example, follow the instruction carefully. Read the manual before assembling. Take 2 tablets twice a day. Mix the ingredients well before cooking. Plug in the charger and turn it on. So these are the instructions which are you giving someone, and in your daily life you just give advice. Don't forget to call me. Remember to wear your coat. Be careful when you are crossing the street. Don't spend too much money. Take a break and rest. So these are the advices you are giving. What are the encouragements examples? Keep up the good work. You are doing great. Stay calm and carry on. Don't give up. Keep trying. So these are the encouragements. And they have some different imperative sentences like negative imperatives, like don't touch that, don't be late, don't forget your keys, don't eat too much sugar, don't drive too far. So these are all the come into the negative imperatives. So there are some notes written here. Negative imperatives are used to prohibit or discourage an action. So here are some examples of imperative sentences which is using for indirect and direct narrations. It means for direct narrations, I'm using go to your room, she exclaimed. So they are giving the command. Please pass the salt, he requests. So he requesting. Follow the instructions carefully, the teacher instructed. It means instructions. Don't forget to call me, she reminded. It is advice. Keep up the good work, he encouraged. So he encourages. Indirect narrations are she told him to go his room. This is command. He asked her to pass the salt. It's request. The teacher instructed them to follow the instructions carefully, which is instructions. She advised him not to forget to her call, which is advice. He encouraged her to keep up the good work, encouragement. What are the nested imperatives, direct and indirect, coming from? Like, tell him to go to his room. She said, this is a direct narration. She told him to tell him to go to his room, which is indirect narration. Ask her to pass the salt, he said. So, this is direct narration. He asked him to ask her to pass the salt. So, this is indirect narration. Notes, uh, the direct narrations use direct quotes and reports the exact words spoken. Indirect narrations reports the content of the speech without using direction quotes. Nested imperatives combine direct and indirect narrations to give command, request, or instructions about something already mentioned. So these are the examples of imperative sentences. Now, exclamatory sentences. So what are exclamatory sentences? Exclamatory sentences are type of sentence that express a strong emotion, such as excitement, surprise, joy, enthusiasm, astonishment, disbelief, etc. So here I have some examples of explanatory sentences. For example, there's excitement. So what is the excitement example is? What a fantastic concert. Then you put exclamatory mark. Surprise, what a shocking revelations. So enjoy, what a wonderful news. Enthusiasm, how amazing is this, a new roller coaster. Astonishment, what a stunning view. Disbelief, how can this be happening? Elations, what a triumphant movement. Expressions, what a frustrating situations. So in expressions, there's a different type of situations it's giving, and you can also show the negative impact also. And exclamatory sentences are used to express a strong emotions or reactions, and empathize or intensity to statement, convey a sense of urgency or important, should excitement, surprise, or astonishment, empathize as point or opinion. So exclamatory sentences are the typically marked by exclamatory mark, which is that standing line and dot at the end. Strong words are phrases like what, how many, so, such. So a raised tone or pitch when spoken. Exclamatory sentences can be used in the various contexts such as everyday conversations, writing stories or a poetry, public speaking or presentations, advertising or marketing, social media posts or captions. So they just use in the daily life in the various concepts. So here I have some examples of exclamatory sentences. What a beautiful sunset. How delicious this cake is. What a wonderful surprise. How exciting this adventure is. What a stunning view from the point. How thoughtful of you to remember my birthday. What a fantastic concert that was. How gracious this dress looks on you. What a remarkable achievement. How breathtaking this scenery is. What a lovely gift. How amazing your talent is. What a thrilled ride. How adorable this puppy is. What a stunning work of art. So exclamatory sentences can also use to express strong emotions like, oh no, I forget my phone at home. So this is the emotions you're showing, that you forget your phone at your home. Wow, this is incredible news. So you're just showing the emotions. Yay, I'm so excited for the party. So you are in the happy mood. Ouch, that hurts. You just shows that you hurted. Ah, what a relief. Oh, I am in trouble now. Phew, that was close. Yes, that's scary. Whoa, that's amazing. Gosh, I'm so grateful. So these all the contents, these all the examples come into the emotions. It shows emotions And remember, exclamatory sentences are used to express a strong emotions or reactions and often marked by the exclamatory mark at the end. Here I have more examples related to indirect and direct sentences. In direct narrations, I use "What a beautiful sunset!" she exclaimed. This is a direct narration. "How delicious this cake is!" he cried. So this is direct narrations. "What a wonderful surprise!" they shouted. So this is also coming to direct narrations. In direct sentences or narrations, she exclaimed that it was a beautiful sunset. This is indirect narration. He cried out at the cake was delicious. So this is indirect narration. They shouted that it was a wonderful surprise. This is also coming to indirect narration. What is nested exclamatory sentences which come into direct and indirect narration? It means to exclaim to him what a beautiful sunset it is. She said, direct narrations. This is the direct narrations because you're exclaiming him that the sunset is so beautiful. She told him to exclaim that it was a beautiful sunset. This is also indirect narration. Cry out to her how delicious this cake is, he said. So this is also a direct narration because you just cried how the cake is so delicious. This is a very direct narration. Shout to them what a wonderful surprise it is, they said. This is direct narration. They told them to shout that it was a wonderful surprise. This is indirect narration. So direct narrations was uses direct quotes and report the exact meaning or the word spoken. Indirect narration report the content of the speech without using direct quotes. Nested exclamatory sentences come under the combined direct and indirect narrations to express a strong emotions about something which is already mentioned. So when using indirect narration, the exclamatory sentence is altered according to the reporting verbs. Here are some examples. If you are using the alterations according with the reporting verbs. So in exclamatory sentences, if you are using the reporting verb exclaim, which is cry, shout, or exclaims, the sentence remain in the exclamatory form, which means in direct, I'm just using what a beautiful sunset, she exclaimed. So you are just using the exclamatory mark after the sunset. So in indirect, she exclaimed at what a beautiful sunset it was. If the reporting verb is say, tell or ask the sentence, if change or declarative sentences. So indirect, what a beautiful sunset she shared. And indirect, she said that it was a beautiful sunset. If in the reporting verb is asked, the question is changed to questions. So direct, how delicious is the cake? He said. In indirect, he asked how delicious the cake was. So I have some more examples about these things. So indirect, what a wonderful surprise. They shouted. So indirect, they shouted that it was a wonderful surprise because it is using shouting. Indirect, how amazing is the view, she cried. In indirect, she said that the view was amazing. It means using the say, means say, said. So this is the direct versus sent. What a fantastic concert, he explained. In indirect sentences, he explained that it was a fantastic concert because it exclaimed. So these come into the alterations in the accordance with the report verbs. So basically, what are the alterations in accordance with the report verbs are? So alteration in accordance with the report verb refers to the change made to the original sentence when converting it from direct speech to indirect speech, which depending to verb used to report the speech. So in indirect speech, the verb used to report the speech, such as said, asked, exclaimed, etc. There's very lot of words depends on alteration accordance with the report verbs. It affects the form of the original sentence. The changes which is include shift in the sentence, the verb tense in the original sentence may change to match the tense of the reporting verb. change in pronunciations. Pronoun may change to match the subject of the reporting verb. Removal of exclamatory words means words like how, what, so, it may be removed or rephrased. Change in sentence structure. The sentence structure may change from exclamatory to declarative and interrogative depending on the reporting verb. For example, if I'm talking about indirect or indirect speeches, so direct speech, what a beautiful sense that I'm just using the exclamatory mark. So in indirect speech, it's using like exclaimed. So she exclaimed that what a beautiful sunset it was. So there's no change in the sentence structure. In indirect speech, when using said, so it means she said that it was a beautiful sunset. So this is changed into declarative sentences. I'm not using exclamatory mark in this. So these alternations help to integrate the original sentences into the reporting sentences, it making the language more natural and coherent. So these are the alteration according with their reporting verbs. Now, what are the reporting verbs in the present or future? So there's a reporting verbs when we are just talking about the reporter speech and having the quotations mark and direct speech to indirect speeches. Why no change in sentences? So there's for no change in the tense when we I'm using the actions or the statements which being or reported in the it's still relevant or true at the time of reporting. So hence the original tenses is retained. So these are the reporting verbs when I'm using for present and future tenses. So this we have to keep in mind. Now I just go for further. What is the present tense reporting verb? So when using a present tense reporting verb, the tense of the original sentence remains the same in the direct and indirect speeches. So this is because the present tense reporting the verb indicates that the speech is happening now. So the tense of the original sentence does not need to change. For example, direct speech, what a beautiful sunset. Indirect speech using present tense reporting verb. So see, Shay, what a beautiful sentence. There's no change in the sentence. When I'm talking about the direct speeches, so this is saying what a beautiful sunset. So there's no change in tenses. So I'm just talking about she exclaimed. So what a beautiful sunset. So there's also no change in the sentences. I have other examples also. For example, in direct speech, I'm just saying that I'm happy, great today. So when I'm using the indirect speech, while using the present tense reporting verbs, so he says, I am feeling great today. So there's no change in the tenses. Now she tells me that I'm happy and great today. So there's also no change in the tenses. They announce we are happy, we are feeling good and great today. So there's also no change in the tenses because the note that is the applies to present tenses reports verbs say sayings exclaim announce exclaims etc. You are using this type of say. So here are some examples related to say and exclaims and many more. So in say direct speeches that I said that I love this cake. So indirect speech, it shows that she say, I love this cake. So no change in the tenses. It says with the present tense. Exclaimed. It means that speech is what a stunning view. In indirect sentences or indirect speech, he exclaimed, what a stunning view. So there's no change in the sentence or tenses because exclaim shows the present tenses. Now tell, write, indirect speech. So I am going to the store, which means indirect speech. She tells me I am going to the store. So there's no change in tenses as tell shows the present tense. Ask, direct speech, what's your name? And in direct speech, he asked, what's your name? So there's no change in the tense because R shows the present tense. Announce. In that speeches, I'm just saying that we are having a sale. I'm announcing it because I'm saying that I'm announcing. So we are having a sale today. So in that speech, they announce we are having a sale. So there's no change in the tenses because announce is showing the present tense. So in each of these examples, the present tenses report verbs which shares, exclaims, tells, asks, announce is used to report the speech and tenses of the original sentences, which remains the same. Note that this is different from the past tense reporting verbs, where the tenses of the original sentences would change to match the past tense of the reporting verb. Now I'm just talking about the future tenses report. In future tenses report, verbs is a grammatical constructions used to report a statement, questions, or exclamations that will occur in the future. It is used to express future actions, predictions, plans, and many more things. So, just talked about the future actions. It means to report something that will happen in the future. For example, she will say goodbye before she leaves. So in prediction, to report a prediction or forecast about the future event. For example, the weatherman will announce a storm warming tomorrow. Plan, plans. To report a plan or intention for a future action. For example, they will tell us about their plans for the project next week. Future instructions, to report instruction or guidance for a future task. For example, the teacher will explain the assignment tomorrow. So the future tense is reporting verbs is formed using the auxiliary verb, which is will or shall in some cases, plus the base form of the main verb and the main verb in the base form, and the subject verb agreements rules apply as usual. So while using the future tense report verb help to express future events or actions, make predictions or forecasts, report plans or intentions, provide instructions or guidance for future tasks. So it is important to note that the future tense reporting verb is used to report something that has not happened yet, but it's expected to happen in the future. So here I have some examples of the future tense reporting verb. Like if I'm just say that will say. So in that speech, it shows I will be there tomorrow. So in that speech, she will say that she will be there tomorrow. So this is direct and indirect speeches while using will say. Now, second is will explain. Claim. So in direct speech, it shows what a wonderful day. You are explaining it that the wonderful day is here. So in indirect speeches, he will exclaim that it's a wonderful day. Next is will tell. In direct speech, I will meet you at 5 p.m. This is direct speech. In indirect speech, they will tell us that they will meet us at 5 p.m. So now I'm just talking about the will ask. In direct speech, can you help me? And in direct speech, she will ask if we can help her. Will announce. Direct speech, we are launching a new product. So in direct speech, the company will announce that they are launching a new product. So in each of these examples, the future tenses reports verb that is will say, will come, exclaim, will tell, will ask, will announce. So these all the just talking about the future tenses related to the reporting verb, which is used to report that speech that will happen in the future. The tenses of the original sentence can change to make the future tense of the reporting verb. Note that the future tense reporting verb is used to express future actions, predictions, or the plan, and the indirect speech reflect these future perspectives. Now go to the further slide. alteration as per sentences. So when you use the tense as per the alterations in the direct speech and indirect speech, when you're using the terms that I write. So in indirect speech, simple past is he said that he wrote. In present continuous, if you're writing, that I'm writing. So past continuous, it shows that he said that he was writing. Present perfect, it shows that I have written. So in past perfect, it shows he said that he has written. Simple past, I wrote. In past perfect, he said that he had written. So this comes in the alteration as per the tenses. When using in a speech or indirect speech, the tenses of the original sentences may change depending on the tenses of the report verb. So this is called the sequence of tenses. Here I have some alterations as per the tenses, like when you are using the present tense, which is in reporting verb. So there are the types of things, which is present tense, original sentences remain the same. Past tense, original sentence changed to past perfect tense. Future tense, original statements or sentences changed to future perfect tenses. For example, that I'm studying for the exam. This is the present tense I'm using, and this is the indirect speech. So in indirect speech, using the present tense while reporting verb, she say that she is studying for the exam. So there is no change in the sentence. While and this learn about the past and report verb. So present tense original sentences change to past tense. Past tenses original sentences remain the same. In future tenses, original sentences change to past future tense. For example, direct speech. I will go to the party tonight, which is future tense. In direct speech, using the past tense report verb, she said that she would go to the party tonight, which is changes to the past future tense. While when learning about the future tense report, it shows the present tense original sentence changed to future tenses. Past tense original sentence changed to future perfect tense. When asking about the future tense, original sentences remain the same. There are some examples about future tense reporting verbs, which is talk about the direct speech. So I'm studying for the exam. This is present tense. And indirect speech using future tense reporting verb, that is she will say that she is studying for the exam. So it is changes to the future tense. So these alterations helps to maintain consistency in tenses usage and making the direct and indirect speech more natural and coherent. So these are the alterations as per tenses. So in alteration as per tenses, it changes in interrogative statements or sentences. When converting interrogative sentences means questions from the direct speech to indirect speech, the changes are as follows, which shows the present tense reporting verb. When I'm using yes or no questions, it remains the same. When I'm using WH questions, which means what, where, when, whom, etc. So it changed to the corresponding WH words. For example, in direct speech, what is your name? This is WH question, right? When I'm converting into direct speech, I'm using the present tense reporting verb. So it shows that she asked what my name is. So this is the changes in the indirect speeches. When I'm using the past tense reporting verb, and while using yes or no questions, it changes to if or whether, having the conditions. In WH questions, when I'm changing into the corresponding WH words and the verb changes to past tense. For example, direct speech. What is your name? See, it shows WH means what is your name. So indirect speech is using past tenses reporting verb. So she asked what's my name she was. So it shows that she asked what my name was. So it is converting into the past tense reporting verb. So when I'm talking about the future tense reporting verb, when while using yes or no questions, it changes into the if or whether condition. So WH questions, which changes in the corresponding WH words and the verb change to future tense. For example, direct speech. What will you do tomorrow? This is WH question because I'm using what here. So in while I'm asking about the indirect speeches, I'm using the future tense reporting verb. So it shows she will ask what I will do tomorrow. So it not shows in between, it shows the corresponding words by the WH words. So note that the changes depend on the type of questions, which is yes, no, WH questions, and the tenses of the reporting verbs. So these all are the main verbs which we have to understand about. So these is the changes in interrogative sentences which we are talking about. So this is the first point, removing the quotations mark and the question mark. Great point, right? When converting interrogative sentence from the direct speech to indirect speech, another change is removing the quotation mark and the question mark. So in indirect speech, the question mark is replaced with a period which is full stop and the quotation mark are removed. As it written here, in indirect speech, the questions is enclosed in quotation mark and ends with a question mark. And in indirect speech, the quotations mark and the question marks are removed and sentences turn into the statement with the full stop. So while using the appropriate, so I have some examples of removing quotation mark while starting this using the appropriate report verb. So I have some example of removing the quotation mark and the question mark. So in that speech, if I'm asking what is your name, so I'm using the question mark and the quotation marks. So while I'm talking about indirect speech, it shows like she asked what my name was. So there's a full stop and there's no question marks and no quotations. So this change helps to integrate the questions into the reporting sentence, making it statements rather than a direct questions. While using the appropriate verbs, there's another important change when converting into interrogative sentences from the direct speech to indirect speech. Using the appropriate reporting verb instead of using say or said, which are the commonly used for the statements, we use reporting verbs that indicates a question is being asked, such as ask, asked, inquire, inquired, want to know, wonder. So I have some examples of this using appropriate report are direct speech. What is your name? So I'm asking the question. And while I'm just changing in while using the asked as per the reporting verb, so it shows she asked what my name was. So using the appropriate reporting verb helps to maintain the interrogative nature of the original sentences and make the indirect speech more natural and coherent. Now I'm just go further, which is converting the questions format to the statement, which is also a great point, right? Another change when converting interrogative sentences from the direct speech to indirect speech. So while I'm just asking about the indirect speech, the word or the any change that of the statement that shows subject plus verb, not a questions verb plus subject. So I have some examples over this. When converting the question format into the statement, so in indirect speech, the question is rephrased as a statement, often using a pronoun or noun to replace the interrogative words. Interrogative words are who, what, where, whom, etc. So I have some example of this. In direct speech, I'm asking the question, what is your name? But in indirect speech, I'm asking that she asked for the name. So this is the statement. Or indirect speech, where are you going? I'm asking the questions that where are you going? And in that speech, he inquired about my destination. This is the statement where I'm using. So I'm just converting the question into the statements. Just we maintain the meaning to intend the original question, but we just rephrase it to fit the indirect speech format. So while changing pronoun and the tenses appropriately, there's another important change when converting interrogative sentences from direct speech to indirect speech is when changing the pronunciations and having the tenses appropriate. In indirect speech, pronoun and the tenses may need to be adjusted to match the subject, time, and frame of the reporting sentences. For example, direct speech. What are you doing? This is the question I'm asking. While it converting into direct speech, that she said, she asked what I am doing. So this is change pronoun and tenses. Or direct speech, when will you arrive? So this is question I'm asking. And in indirect speech, he asked when I would arrive. It changed into the pronoun and the tenses. So by changing pronoun and the tenses appropriately, we ensure that the indirect speech is consistent and logical, and that the meaning of the original question is preserved. So here are some guidelines for changing pronoun and the tenses in indirect speech. That is, change first person means I, me to the appropriate person he, she, they. Change second person you to appropriate person he, she, they. Change present tense to past tense or past perfect tense if you're reporting sentences in the past. Change future tenses to future perfect tense if the reporting sentences in the past. So it is important to note that specific changes will depend on the context and the reporting sentences. I have some examples of converting interrogative sentences, which is here I have some examples of interrogative sentences which is converted into direct speeches into direct speech. So while using the WH questions in direct speeches, what is your name? So in direct speech, she asked what my name was. Next is where are you going? So in indirect speech, he inquired about my destination. Direct speech, when will you arrive? In direct speech, they ask when I would arrive. In direct speech, why are you late? So while converting into indirect speech, that she wanted to know that why I was late. So in direct speech, what are you doing? While converting into indirect speech, she asked what I was doing. In direct speech, how much does it cost? So in direct speech, they inquired about the price. Direct speech, what time is the meeting? By converting into indirect speech, he asked what the time the meeting was. Who is your friend? She asked who my friend was. What is your favorite color? He asked what my favorite color was. Can you speak French? Converted into indirect speech, they asked if I could speak French. Note that the indirect speech tenses using appropriating reports, which is asked, inquired, wanted to know, etc., and change the pronunciations and pronoun and tenses as necessary to maintain consistency and logic. So while using yes or no questions, here I have some examples on when converting into yes or no questions from the direct speech to indirect speech, which is direct speeches. Is she coming? So in that speech, she asked if he was coming. Do you like it? He asked if I liked it. Can you speak French? They asked if I could speak French. Will you attend the meeting? She asked if I would attend the meeting. Have you finished the project? He asked if I had finished the project. Are you feeling well? They asked that I was feeling well. Did you enjoy the movie? She asked if I had enjoyed the movie. Will you be there? He asked if I would be there. In direct speech, do you know the answer? In direct speech, they asked if I knew the answer. Direct speech, can you help me? And in direct speech, she asked if I could help her. So note that the indirect speech sentences use appropriate reporting verbs, which is asked, inquired, wanted to know, etc., and change the pronouns and tenses as necessary to maintain consistency and logic. Also note that yes or no question is rephrased using if or whether in the indirect speech sentences, and the verb change, the past tense was, were, did, etc., to match the reporting verb. So I have some example of direct and indirect speeches, dialogues with responses. So here I have some examples in direct and indirect speeches. Indirect speech, I'm asking, what is your name? Asked John. My name is Emily, replied Emily, right? So in indirect speech, John asked Emily what her name was. Emily replied that her name was Emily. So while asking indirect and indirect speeches, there are some changes with the dialogues with their responses. So next is direct and indirect speeches. Do you like coffee? Asked Sarah. Yes, I love coffee, replied by Michael. So when I'm using it in the indirect sentences or indirect speeches, Sarah asked Michael if he liked coffee. Michael replied that he loved coffee. So direct speeches, where are going? Asked the police officer. I am going home, replied by driver. So this in direct speech, the police officer asked the driver where he was going. The driver replied that he was going home. Next is, can you speak Spanish? Asked by the teacher. Yes, I can speak Spanish frequently, replied by the student. When I'm asking in indirect speech, the teacher asked the student if he could speak Spanish. The student replied that he could speak Spanish frequently. Note that in the indirect speech, the reporting verb asked, replied, etc. is used to introduce the indirect speech, and pronoun and tenses may change to match the reporting verb. Now, you have some activity which you have to write it. This is the first activity which you have to convert the following sentences into the direct and indirect to direct speech. This is the first activity. Now, this is the second activity which you have to convert the following sentences into direct speeches. This is the let's sum up that why what we have learned in this. We just understand the difference between the direct and indirect speeches. We have some rules for changing the tenses, places, and the time expressions, and how we handle the interrogative sentences in the reportive speeches. So let's conclude it. Now, in the conclusion, I just want to say the converting interrogative sentences from the direct speech to indirect speech, which required some changes. So you have to keep in your mind that removing the quotation mark and the question mark, using appropriate reporting verbs, asked, inquired, and wanted to know, etc. questions and words which were using in this reporting verbs, changing pronoun and tenses is necessary, converting WH questions and yes or no questions to direct speech. So by following these steps, you just can accurately convert direct speech questions to indirect speech, maintaining the original meaning and context. Remember to adjust pronouns tenses and verb form to ensure consistency and clarity in the indirect speeches sentences. If you have any more questions or need any clarification, feel free to ask. Thank you.